Yes.
Juan Soto signed a gigantic deal with the New York Mets.
Every time, speaking of what G. Bush was just saying, every time a baseball player gets a huge contract, and yeah, in the world, these I get it. They're so crazy. People get so angry about these contracts.
Well, with this one in particular, I saw a great breakdown of how the $765 million deal over 15 years breaks down. Steve, take this full real quick.
Yeah, it's a lot heavy in the first few years. But
I'm just saying overall, it's going to make $314,000 per game. For the next 15 years, he's making $140,000 a day. He's making $5,840 per hour, and he's making $97 per minute over the course of this contract.
First of all,
good for him, man.
People get all worked up with baseball contracts in particular, and they compare them to football. I saw this thing like Juan Soto's going to make more than LeBron and Tom Brady. Well, I know it's a different type of physical sport. I get it. But in baseball, you play 162 games. In football, you play 17 games.
People forget the fact that the money goes up every year.
That's right.
So, it's crazy because in 10 years, we'll look at this like he was getting chump change compared to what they're getting now.
And here's the thing. If teams couldn't afford it, they wouldn't pay him. Not only did the Mets pay him $765 million, there were 5 teams in the ballpark of that money.
The Yankees
5.
Yankees offered them more.
Dodgers,
Red Sox, and
Blue Jays. They were all somewhere in that ballpark. So don't tell me now. I get it. If you're a fan of the Guardians, it's frustrating because you can't get players like that. I get it. I understand. But the problem is not the Mets or the Yankees. The problem is the ownership of the smaller market teams. They don't spend, and they've conned so many of our fans into believing that they can't spend. And why we believe these guys, I have no idea. I'll never understand it. If it was true, why would they be why would they be so big about hiding their books? And I don't remember what the Dolans, and the Dolans do a lot of good things as owners. I've said this a million times, besides spending. And I know sometimes people think that's all that matters. It's not, but that's an important thing, and that's But the Dolans, I can't remember what Mike, can you look up what they bought the Guardians for?
Okay, one sec.
Because all I know is when they do sell the team for good, they're going to make an incredible profit. So I don't want to hear, and then the excuse is always, well, they don't have the money on hand. Well, if they can't afford it, then sell it because they're going to make.
So in the year, real quick, in the year 2000, they bought the Guardians for $323 million.
$323 million. What's the evaluation of the Guardians right now?
Almost $1 billion.
Probably more than that.
I think it was 900 last time I checked. 990 something.
According to Forbes, the Guardians are the 24th most valuable Major League Baseball team at $1.35 billion.
Oh.
All right. So that means that in 20 years, they could sell it, and by the way, they'd sell it for more than that. They'd make $1 billion. $1 billion.
Ain't that nice?
In 20 years.
Must be nice.
Which I don't begrudge them, but don't tell me you can't spend.
So you feel the same way about Cincinnati Bengals owner?
100%. Now, I will give Mike Brown a little bit of credit that he has. I mean, he did pay Joe Burrow. Now, if you don't pay Chase, especially Chase, I want him to pay Chase and Higgins.
What if he
doesn't pay?
What if he ain't
Chase,
got the money?
He's got the money. Don't give me that shit. I don't believe that.
See, this is the problem. The problem, and feel free. This is one of the episodes people just get mad about.
Yeah.
Oh,
we talk about how we don't like the elite in this country, and the elite do this, and the elite do that, and the elite got this. But you are talking about people that are making this money that are pretty much first generation people that grew up on nothing.
95% of the case.
When it comes to baseball and when it comes to football, when it comes to sports, first generation people with no money, no nothing, growing up on nothing.
I mean, there's probably a few guys.
It's a few guys that got it, but
yes.
not many.
Yeah.
So you meaning to tell me that you are mad every time they get money, but you never question how in the heck can somebody have enough money to give somebody $765 million in the first place.
Right.
The owner has $21 billion. And I don't know whether it's because we can't visualize how much $1 billion is, or we don't know.
Maybe one day.
Or we already agreed that we'll never see that type of money, and these people are not close to you at all.
That might be too much money.
But you will get to a place where you say, oh, well, I'm going to take it out on the guy that's closely, that's more like you than anything.
That's what the billionaires want. They want us, the Republicans and Democrats, hating each other and fighting each other. But
it's about rich and poor.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, we talk about it. These guys are. I love the fact that everybody, corporations, everybody, they love capitalism. They love it. They love it till the cows come on. Deregulate, capitalism, least amount of taxes. Let me decide what I want to do with my money. That's what we preach. But every time we get to somebody who happens to be an athlete or get a bag of money, then it's all of a sudden you penny pinching, you counting. What happened to? I thought you didn't like socialism.
That's right. Well,
I thought you did. I thought you were supposed to want the money.
Right.
Everybody get the most money they can get. Right? I thought that's what we was doing.
That's the whole point of being here.
Billionaires want their profits to be capitalism and their losses to be socialism. That's what they want.
Wild to me. Like, so I get it. We may never see that type of money, but you can't. You got to serve one master.
Good for Juan Soto.
Good.
Good for him.
Who's mad at
And
Juan
by the way,
Soto?
it's good for Yankee fans are so bitter right now, and I love it. By the way,
why?
This is actually, in a weird way, good for the Guardians because your toughest competitor last year, the Yankees, just lost their best player.
No.
And he's their best hitter. He's more clutch than Aaron Judge. I know he and Judge are 1A, 1B in terms of their best player, but they lost. And now Yankee fans are like, that idiot Nick Totoro, the actor, is on calling the Mets Fredo, and he's on there saying, oh, he's not loyal. The Yankees have been stealing players from other teams for 40 years. Who gives a crap if anybody's loyal to the Yankees?
We were when I was explaining to Tyvis, it was what he said. You said who has a problem with Soto?
Yeah, who got a problem with this?
No, every time I was answering what Bull said. Every time somebody gets a really good big contract, the first thing people do is, we need a cap. We need to figure this out.
Right.
This is way too much money.
Who said that?
We was on the show yesterday. Jason Lloyd said we need a cap.
He didn't say it on the air, but yeah.
We need a cap?
Yeah.
I mean,
get as much money as you possibly can.
If I'm
I ain't never ever hating on nobody. If I was him, I'd be sitting there trying to figure out how can I get up. Don't he got in this contract that after 5 years he can really go?
Out, yeah.
I would opt out and see if I can get $1 billion.
By the way, the Mets can void his opt-out by paying him like even more. That would put the contract up over $800 million. $800 million.
I'd go crazy, opt out, and try to get $1 billion.
The one thing I will say, I think the majority of fans that are mad are more mad at the sport than they are at Juan Soto. They just hate the inequities of it, and I get it. You want. To me, a salary floor is more important than a salary cap.
I would agree.
Let me ask, does this, in baseball, because you know how in football, like you have a cap, like you have a salary cap.
Sure.
So is there not like one for the Mets team?
So there's a.
Because like in basketball, if you get like, when they had, the Heat had the big three, like they had to get players off the street.
So technically, they don't call it a cap in baseball. There really is no cap. There is what I would call a soft cap in baseball. So when you're over a certain amount of money, at this point I don't remember how much it is. Certainly the Mets are over it,
Dodgers.
The Yankees, Dodgers, couple teams. If you're over these caps, then you have to pay penalties.
Okay.
But if the owner, it's just like the NFL. Jimmy Haslam, he's been willing to just pay. It's the same thing. Like right now for the Cavs, Dan Gilbert is over the first apron, so there's penalties for that. Yeah. The difference is, in basketball and football, the penalties are stronger. Because there is a limit to how much you can go.
It makes it prohibitive to fill your roster.
Right. If you're willing to spend in baseball, then there's really no cap. You just have to pay more money into the coffers, but it's not insane amount. For guys who are multi-billionaires, the payments.
So Jason off the air is insinuating that he would rather go like basketball, where the NBA is now.
He thinks it would be better for the sport overall if there was a salary cap, which is probably true. But if I'm a baseball player, I'm not agreeing to that.